Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of All Four Downs podcast. It's the NFL picks, week 17. Week 17 already?
Week 17.
Damn. It's going by real fast. It has. And you know what? It's crunch time, and we saw a surprising look. I was surprised that even Netflix had two games out of network on Christmas Day, and I realized that on Monday when I was looking at the schedule, and I was like, "Wow, we're gonna see Christmas." And then
Yeah,
I also said, "Like, damn, these guys are playing so many games in less than amount of days." And I
right.
think it was three games in 13 games or something like that.
hmm
So there's a lot at stake and how they pace themselves to get ready for these games. And I wish they didn't do that, knowing that you go through a lot on your own body to play the games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's an advantage or what, but then again, I mean, the guys that are playing, they got similar schedules, right? But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
You'll think it'd be kind of balanced out and even and everything, but
Yeah. Yeah. Now we had two games yesterday. We got one game today and a recap of what happened yesterday. To go ahead and put it out there. The Chiefs went on the road and defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 29-10. It really wasn't really a game. To be honest with you, the momentum was all the Chiefs. And yeah, what can we say about the Steelers where once you had your thoughts made up, like, okay, I guess they've proven everybody wrong that they're contenders, yet they're pretenders. They're pretending to be one of the top teams, and they can't defeat anybody that's in the playoffs.
this is not a new. This is not a new trend. This has been something that's been going on with Pittsburgh over the last several years. They start off hot with the schedule they've gotten, and then when they run into
Well,
those,
I mean, last year they barely made it to a winning season.
yeah.
This time they started out hot, right? So,
Well, you
what?
remember a few years back they finished. They started off 11-0, and then they just choked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're playing their schedule the way it's supposed to be, and I did not predict that they were going to be on top. But it seems like right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, not only the loss was big because not only that they lost to the Ravens a week ago, they went ahead and lose to the Chiefs, and they lose first place, and now they're outside looking in the wild card. Okay, so a lot, a lot of bad juju's happening with the Steelers. But on the other side, coincidentally, you had the Ravens, which took first place by defeating the Texans 31-2. Now, I don't know what happened to the Texans. I don't know if because they made the playoffs that they knew that they were not going to excel in the seeding, but man, it was just like, here you go, Ravens. Have fun. I'm tired. I'm hurt. I need to recover. Oh, so that brings us to our standings here. Kansas City Chiefs they went ahead and clinched home field advantage, which, by the way, that's probably the only way they could get to the Super Bowl is through Kansas City. And so right now they're more favorite to win. Okay, the Buffalo Bills are in second place. They play the Jets this weekend. The Baltimore Ravens, as of right now, secured first place in the AFC North. They still got to play one more. They got to win a game and hope that they still lose a game so they could clinch the AFC North. The Houston Texans already clinched their division. They're at 9-7. As you can see, why probably the Texans did what they did. Um, and then now you got the Steelers ahead in the wild card with the Chargers and the Broncos on 6-7. And is it a far stretch knowing that we got a couple of games left? You have the Colts and the Dolphins still alive and the Bengals. So, and then you look at it, the Colts play the Giants, the Dolphins play the Browns, and the Bengals. What I say? Yeah, the Bengals do play the Broncos. So, um, yeah, you think this is an easy schedule, but I don't think it is. It seems like it's like common sense, but when you think about common sense, usually it doesn't go that way.
Well, we know that things always change towards the end of the season. Yeah, when you think that certain team is supposed to be favored or stronger than another team, but then yet things just start going out of whack. Like what Kansas City's doing right now. They don't have anything to play for, really. So they did what they had to do. But could they be the ones, shall I say, play spoiler?
I think the only team right now that can play spoiler is the Patriots.
Well, no. When I say Kansas City playing spoiler,
Kansas City. Oh, okay,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, because they had nothing to play for, but they could ruin either Denver or Cincinnati's chances of making the playoffs. You see, and so that's what I mean as playing spoiler here. Is like, do they play their starters, or do they
I
just
wouldn't.
rest them?
I wouldn't. I would maybe play a quarter just to get some warm-ups and stuff, but I mean, it just don't make sense to. I mean, you already got a first round bye, and I'm not trying to say to be lazy and just
Right,
chill, right?
right,
But at the
right.
same time, it's like I think next week, which is our last week, you might see them take some time off. You know what I mean? I don't think that. Um, yeah, it's hard to say, to be honest with you. Like, what type of rhythm? Would you lose the rhythm, or would you do enough to be rested and be ready for the playoffs? That's what I'm looking at, because
Yeah,
I don't know what's fair or not fair. Do you rest and wait, or do you continue playing just to keep that rhythm? I don't know.
and could too much rest be a hindrance to them?
Mm, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see on that one. But it's interesting to see how the standings work on this one. And the NFC, Detroit Lions, right now top seed in their schedule. Looks like they might finish on top. I hope they do. But Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, what a game! What a game from the Washington Commanders to put it on the Eagles.
That was a
And
game
then
that they needed, and they got it.
the Eagles needed a win and they didn't get it. And I'm concerned about the health of the team because there was some injuries and Jalen Hurts got a concussion. So I don't even know if he's playing this week.
Right. Yeah, that is a question right there. So that means Kenny Pickett
And their
would be
backup
starting.
quarterback is
Um,
garbage. Pickett is garbage. I mean, why do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers let him go?
yeah, that's true.
Oh my god. Oh, anyways, yeah. And their backup quarterback after him is not that great either. So that's why I say there's a concern there. The Rams are hot at the right time. The Atlanta Falcons, man, this picture has changed. The NFC South has changed so much. I don't even know where to start with that one. But the Vikings and the Packers, they're going to head to head this weekend. Wow, that's all I'm gonna say is wow on that. And then we already said the Commanders, the Bucks. They're trying to fight their way to get first place, and then there's the Seattle Seahawks. Coincidentally, both the AFC and NFC, if you look at the standings, they got the 2-game lead, right? So let's go back to the AFC and look at the 7th seed. Denver is 9-6, 2-game lead, right? And then
Yep.
here, the Washington Commanders, 10 wins, 2-game lead over the Bucks and Seahawks. But the Bucks got a better chance because they're tied with the Falcons. But will
Right.
the Seahawks can they get it done against Chicago? That's what's happening tonight.
Right. I like the NFC. And honestly, this right here shows why I think, in my opinion, as a fan, they need to reseed everybody. Green Bay and Minnesota are doing things that's just so phenomenal that because they're not going to be a
The
division
NFC
winner.
North, period. Right.
Yeah, they're being it goes against them because they're not division winners, so they have to play a wild card with an outstanding record.
But I got a question for you, though. I do got a question for you. Do you punish a conference champion for not having the best record over a team that didn't become division champs? Excuse me. I'm trying to sound like college football.
Yeah,
My bad. But
I
right,
do,
like, but go ahead. or is it
I do punish them in the sense that they do not deserve a top four seed. Playoffs, yes, you
okay?
win your division, you're
You're in the
automatically in
playoff.
the playoffs. Automatically, yes, because
Okay,
you won your division. However,
okay,
you did not play to the standards as a team who didn't win their division. It's just that they got outplayed by somebody who was better in their division, but yet because we could see three teams in the NFC North in the second round, possibly. I mean, that's just utter dominance.
but at the
Okay.
same time, I have seen a division that's dominant and get taken out in the
Yeah,
wild card.
that's true. I mean, I think it was the Seattle Seahawks who had like a subpar, maybe losing record division winner, and they knocked out a good team in the first round. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but the likely chances of that happening more often than not is very rare. So I feel personally they need to relook at this, because Minnesota and Green Bay should be deserving of a 3 and 4 seed.
No, you
Not,
got two potential playoff games right now between the Vikings and the Packers. You also have the Commanders versus the Falcons. That's going to be very interesting, and the
yes,
fact that the Bucks are playing a division rival of the Carolina Panthers. They're going to need the Commanders to take out Falcons, so that way the Bucks, with their win, could take over the NFC South.
well,
Seattle
not
is still floating
not
around, uh, flirting also because the Rams are 9-6, the
right.
Seahawks at 8-7. So there's a lot of play going on, especially that we're now down to the last 2 weeks of the NFL season.
I think also, real quick, Washington not only needs to take out the Falcons, but they need to take them out for themselves because there could be a possibility if the Falcons win out and the Commanders lose out, the Falcons get that last wild card because they head-to-head matchup against Washington. That's why this is a
Fair
very
enough.
important game for Washington. Yeah, Tampa Bay needs Washington to win, but Washington needs to win for themselves because they know Atlanta's breathing down their neck, and that could be
Right.
a mathematical shot for that wild card. So Atlanta and Tampa Bay could actually get in. It's possible. Anything, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, you would think that Washington is safe. They're just only safe because they got Dallas eliminated. That's about the only safe haven they got there.
All right. Well, hey, let's go ahead and look at our picks real quick, and then let's see how everything flows because again, things are interesting. And
Mhm.
we'll start with tonight's game: the Seahawks versus the Bears. 8-7 Seahawks. Bears 4-11. Bears got really nothing to play for, and it seems like the Bears are not the same, especially after the firing of their head coach after Thanksgiving. Bears, they might have Pete Carroll. That's the rumor out there. Pete Carroll wants to coach the Bears. I think he may think differently after tonight's game. What do you think?
Yeah, seriously. I see the Seahawks winning this game. They really, really have a lot to play for here. And to me, the Bears, this is not really playing a spoiler, in my opinion, for the Bears beating the Seahawks. They're going to try to go out there and give it an effort, but Seattle's coming with every fire in their bones to come out and take down these Bears because they know what
Look,
they got at stake.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears pull an upset against the Seahawks and eliminate them from the playoffs. Well, reason being, look, I know in the last 5 games the Bears have lost, but if you look at the
Mhm.
last two, like against Detroit and Minnesota, they've been neck to neck. Okay, they lost 23-20 to Detroit. Then, excuse me, they went overtime against Minnesota, and they lost 30-27. So again, I don't know, like
I think
again, like
I think the Seahawks are going to shred that defense, that rushing defense of the Bears. The Bears rushing defense has given up over 140 yards a game since what, week 5 or 6 or something like that.
yeah.
So and Seahawks can run that ball. They got Kenneth Walker the third. They should be able to do pretty
No,
well
I
on
hear
the
what
run.
you're saying, but what I'm saying is that the Bears ain't gonna give up. But since the firing of their head coach, they haven't been producing a lot of numbers.
Right.
Okay, they're in the teens, and I don't think that's gonna get them anywhere compared to the Seahawks. They also lost 2 in a row. They lost to Minnesota and Green Bay. I just don't think that they're gonna lose again in that division, and therefore I'm picking the Seahawks to win as well.
I mean, look who you said who they lost to, Green Bay and Minnesota. That's two tough teams right there back to back to be playing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right, let's go ahead and move on. So we're down with the Seahawks tonight. Let's go on
yes.
for this weekend. As let me see, Seahawks. I said we both picked the Seahawks. I already, excuse me, I'm lost of words here.
Blah, blah, blah.
Um, I went ahead and made my picks visual for you.
Right.
So you decide whether you agree or disagree. And we start with the Chargers and the Patriots. That's happening Saturday at 1:00 p.m. Early game for the Chargers, knowing they're from the West Coast, but I still feel like the Chargers will get by and defeat the Patriots.
I don't disagree with you there. There's not much to say. I know the Chargers kind of took it a step back in recent weeks, but this is a bounce back, get right game for them. So the Patriots offense is just, to me, just horrendous. So I like the Chargers. I agree with you on that one.
All right, moving on to the Broncos and the Bengals. I'm on the Bo Nix train. Okay,
Right.
but the Bengals have the number one offense in the NFL. And it's sad to say they're barely making it. Bengals lose, they're out. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think that the luck is going to run out. You have the Broncos, which is one of the best defense. Some way, somehow, like it is what it is. The Bengals should have been playing better from day one, and they didn't. And they're gonna have to do a lot of roster moves with that team in the offseason. As for the Broncos, they're just getting better and better. And yeah, they might have had a falling out last week, but I think they could still bounce back and take over. So I'm taking the Broncos for the victory.
Very good game here. I'm looking forward to that, but I disagree with you there. I'm going with the Bengals because as good as the Broncos um, defense has been this year, but they have allowed almost 300 passing yards a game, and Joe Burrow knows how to throw that ball. He likes to throw that ball. He's got T. Higgins back there. I think this is going to be a game for the Bengals to win. I think this is a trap game for Denver because since they lost last week, now they know they're in big trouble of even making the playoffs as great as the season that they're having. Last week, to me, was the game that they should have won against the Chargers because this game right here is going to be the make or break for the Broncos' playoffs hopes. I got the Bengals to start scratching at the door and upsetting the Broncos.
I feel you, but keep in mind the Bengals do what they do. They beat the Dallas Cowboys 27-20, and they barely beat the Cowboys. They went ahead and beat Tennessee, and last week they beat Cleveland, which Cleveland really is not playing any great football. So to say that, yeah, I mean they can air it out, but the Bengals playing caliber playoff teams like that defense haven't done so well all season.
Well, I
So
can argue the
I
same
like
thing
it
with
different. I
Denver.
like it. I like it.
But
saying.
I can argue with Denver too. They beat teams like the Jets, the Raiders, okay, the
Yeah,
Saints, the Panthers. So they haven't really been up to par beating a high caliber team themselves.
but you just come off the game playing the Chargers,
Right.
and look, it was a close game.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
it was.
saying? A very
Division.
close game. So I'm not hating on them.
Right.
I mean, they lost by a touchdown, which easily it could have gone either way,
yeah,
right?
definitely.
But what I'm saying is that they allowed the Chargers to come back in the fourth quarter to win this game, and which surprised me because, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that a Thursday game?
Yeah.
Right? And then I'm like, dude, I picked the Chargers and the Broncos are winning. Wow, it's gonna be a long week for me. And then all of a sudden the next day, I'm like, oh, the Chargers did win. So there was a lot of falling out there. Hopefully they learned their lesson coming up to this game.
Yeah,
Lastly,
definitely.
the Cardinals and the Rams. I'm picking the Rams. They're hot. Let's go.
Yeah.
Rams all the way.
I got the Rams. I don't like the way the Cardinals, they are eliminated already officially. You know, Kyler Murray has just been dreadful for the last month, you know, with his numbers. The defense is just declined. So Rams at home, yeah, I like it. I give it to me.
All right, let's move on. I am going to pick up an upset and say the Cowboys will beat the Eagles. There's just something about Jalen Hurts. If he's not taking the snap, the Eagles are not the same. Sorry, but until I find out otherwise, right now I'm sticking with the Cowboys beating the Eagles.
Okay, well, I respect that, but I'm going with the Eagles. I just think that even though they don't really have much to play for, I mean, they're locked in at the number 2 spot. I mean, that the dreams of the number one spot went down the drain last week when they lost to Washington.
But like you said earlier, the Commanders are if they win the next two and the Eagles lose the next two, the Commanders get up ahead of the Eagles.
The Commanders can, but I think the Eagles are going to pull this one out. I mean, yeah, division-wise is something still to play for, but I think to me it's more of a pride thing between these two as far as rivalry-wise than anything else.
If there's anything I learned about the NFC East, there's a lot of hate, especially towards the end of the season. This is going to be a most hatred game, and I think the Cowboys will have more fire against those Eagles. But you call the Eagles, I got the Cowboys. We'll move on with the Panthers and the Bucks. Give me the Bucks in this game.
I got the Bucks too. There's no disagreeing on that one.
All right, Jets and Bills. The Bills.
Yeah.
Put Aaron Rodgers to rest, can you? Oh man, if there's anything that I hate the most is talking about a football player where only has one Super Bowl in his resume, and the Jets are eliminated. And how could this guy steal the show? Come on, man. Let's stop talking about Aaron Rodgers. Let Pat McAfee have him. I don't care what he says. He's not in the playoffs. Next, Colts and Giants.
Oh, yeah, whatever. The Colts.
No
matter how bad the Colts are, the Giants are even worse.
Which really tells me, is Brian Dable going to be the head coach next year?
No. Him and Shane should be packing up right now.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. The Raiders versus the Saints. I don't know who to pick. So I flipped the coin, and the Raiders won by coin toss.
Yeah. I was scratching my head on this one. I mean, you're talking about the Raiders barely survived against a Jacksonville team versus the Saints who just got shut down by Green Bay. I flipped the coin too, and my coin said I'm going with the Saints on this one. So give me New Orleans.
This ain't the game I'm going to watch.
There's one even worse than that.
Titans versus the Jaguars.
Yes. Those are
I think the Jaguars, because they won in their first meeting 10-6, make it 11-8.
I'm just picking the Jaguars because they're at home. No other reason.
Oh boy,
dude, I got no stats for this one. They suck.
Dolphins versus the Browns. Browns haven't been putting up the numbers. I trust that the Dolphins offense could score and just take it to the bag. Miami still alive in the playoffs. They'll get it. They'll get the job done.
I agree with you. I like Miami in this one. There should be no reason.
Packers versus the Vikings. Oh, wow. I'm picking the Packers, man. I'm Jordan Love all the way. I'm liking it. I think this is going to be a close game. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to overtime.
Yes, I agree with that. I'm going with Minnesota on this one. I really do like to see what the Vikings are going to do moving forward, going into the playoffs. I mean, they're
already in the playoffs.
Well, moving forward, going into it, because they still got to play the Lions next week.
Oh, that's a hard way to finish the season, though.
That's what I want to see. I want to see 14-2 versus 14-2. So
but
late.
You know what, though? You might see, and again, depending if they're locked in, like, what is there any? Let's put it this way: wild card. And again, it all depends if the Lions win too, because we don't know. Anything can happen, right?
You're right.
If you look at the standings, I gotta put up the standings real quick because it's very important that they're tied 13-2.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So late in the season, this is like almost video
make
game
it interesting. Give me Green Bay, man. Let's make it interesting. And besides, Vikings won 8 in a row. They might be on fire, but hey, every winning streak comes to an end.
You're absolutely right. But I just like the way Sam Darnold's been playing for the last 6 games, throwing 15 touchdowns to 1 interception. I think he keeps that going against Green Bay. But if Green Bay wins, I'm not going to be mad because that's just going to make things even interesting. I like it.
Absolutely. All right. And the with the Viking, what is it with the with the Packers, if should the Packers beat the Vikings, then you set up a game between the Vikings and the Lions, and then you might have more likely going to go for the Vikings, unless the Lions are there for one. If the Lions will win, they not only clinch the top seed but have a bye week, so that would be a big reward. So,
Right, yeah,
yeah,
that's
I like those odds.
there's definitely that going on right there. I just thought about that too. Yeah.
Yep, the Falcons and the Commanders. What in the world did the coach was thinking to go ahead and put Michael Penix Jr. to start for the Falcons over Kirk Cousins at a time like where you're trying to get to the playoffs, and then on top of that, you're going against the Commanders, which is another rookie quarterback, Jalen Daniels, who took his team and made a comeback to defeat the Eagles. What a game that was. And I hope that momentum carries over to this game, and therefore the Commanders convincingly defeat the Falcons.
Oh yeah, I agree. The Penix Jr. situation last week, I understand you playing against the Giants, but this is a game where you need somebody who's experienced to give you a chance to win this game.
Yeah, but they had a chance, and Kirk Cousins blew it because all he did was turn over the ball too many times. So they had to come with a decision. And now what they're saying is that Kirk Cousins will no longer be a Falcon at the end of the season because they're going to release him and not pay him $10 million.
But it's not like the Falcons are like 4-12. I mean, they're 8-7, man. I mean, come on, they got a chance to win the division here. They're not playing like what you expect them to play, but Kirk Cousins got them this far, man. Give him a chance. Give him a chance.
You're talking about a guy. Watch this. This is what they're looking at right now. All right. 4 straight losses between New Orleans, Denver, LA, Chargers, Minnesota. And then you play against the Raiders and win 15-9 against the Raiders. Okay. And then you look at his dude, he threw 11 for 17, 112 yards. I mean, they had to rely more of the running game, but nothing was giving them the spark. And that's the decisions that they came up with. So I understand why they replaced Kirk Cousins.
I don't agree with it, man. The Commanders have the 4th ranked passing defense in the NFL. Why would you want to put a rookie quarterback against that? I'd rather put a seasoned quarterback who knows his situation awareness better than a rookie quarterback in a situation against a top passing defense. You're right. The rushing offense for the Falcons, they should be able to handle the Commanders with no problem. But in the situation, I would not put Penix in this situation against the Commanders' passing defense. I'm sorry. I will put Kirk Cousins in there.
Well, Michael Penix Jr. was the first round in this year's draft, 8th pick overall. Mm-hmm. And the guy's 24 years old, so it's not like he's a young buck wet behind the ears. And he's been transferred from different colleges to finally being able to play. I think he played for Washington. Yeah, he played for Washington.
Yeah,
and great dude. I know, but I think he's injury prone, and I think that's the only way Kirk Cousins gets back into the game should he get hurt. But that will be a Sunday night football game: Commanders versus the Falcons. You did say who you going for? Commanders?
I got the Commanders, yes.
All right. And then our Monday night football game, the Lions and the 49ers. 49ers are banged up. They're not the same team anymore. I just don't think the 49ers have what it takes. I'm taking the Lions over the 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Detroit may be banged up a little bit, but I don't see San Francisco controlling this game for 4 quarters against Detroit. Detroit should be able to control this one and win this game and hopefully give them time to rest up and get some of these players back.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, anyways, based on our picks that we just said, right? I got a feeling, and that's just me. I got a feeling. And the AFC, you think that the Broncos are going down and make things interesting and giving life for Miami. And Indianapolis, I tell you what, if the Broncos win and the Chargers win, then Colts, Dolphins, Bengals are eliminated.
They're done with,
done. 3, they're knocked out 3. AFC playoffs is set, and everyone could chill, right? Happy New Year for everybody. However, and the Giants better not hope they could get another win, bro. I'm just saying.
If the Giants pull out the major upset, then the Colts are eliminated.
Of course. No, I think they know themselves. On the other side, Buccaneers will take over the AFC South.
According to our picks, yes.
The Seahawks will be eliminated. Either way, Washington win.
They win and
Washington win. Seattle's out.
Right. So we're saying they're going to win, but they're going to be eliminated.
Nice try, buddy.
Yeah.
Good try. But it's just something about the Commanders, man, that I'm thinking. Hold on for a second. Head coach. Let me see. Yeah. Who's the head coach for the Washington Commanders again? What's his name? Oh, Dan Quinn. I'm sorry. Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn should get the number one, probably the head coach of the year. Dan Quinn should get that. And he's always known for blowing up the lead, 25-point lead against the Patriots when the Patriots and Falcons were in the Super Bowl. But this guy did a lot for the Washington Commanders. And you talking about so many years of being in the basement, last place, and the owner like just screwed things up. They even had to change the name from Redskins to Commanders.
Yeah.
And then finally they got a new organization, new people, new ownership. And all of a sudden they just turned things around and they grabbed players that were wanting to play the game and were motivated, and to rely on a rookie quarterback and the way they developed this quarterback to play his way and to keep him safe, right? Because most of the time you got these rookies and then they get hurt, right? Like the Minnesota Vikings, right? McCarthy is supposed to be the starting quarterback and he got hurt in preseason. And then you got this guy, Jalen Daniels, who I think he already clinched his way to become the rookie of the year.
Yeah, I think so. I can agree with that.
I had Bo Nix, but I was wrong. But if both those teams, hey, the Denver make it to the playoffs and Washington, man, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. That's it. That wraps up our show. It is the All Four Downs podcast. We'll be back next week to gather our thoughts on the last week of Week 18 of the NFL. And don't forget to tune in to my YouTube channel. And we get set this weekend for the quarterfinals of the college football playoffs. I've been perfect. Yeah. And I'm 13-2. You want to tune in to the Bowl Mania Challenge. Oh, yeah.
We got them bowl games going on right now.
Yes, sir. Talk to you later. Take care, everyone. Gotta love some, I would say wrestling. Gotta love some football, baby.